Welcome back to the Danny Hartun Show. Today we got interview number 2. I'm with Westward Drifter, a very talented singer-songwriter here in Nashville
Thank you.
that I've known for a couple years. So first off, how did you come up with that name, Westward Drifter?
I get this question a lot. People,
Damn it.
yeah, no, it's not a bad question. Just people ask me all the time, and I never have a good answer for it. But so back in, I think it was 2015 or 2016, I had been putting music out under my name, Daniel Johnson, and there was already somebody else doing that. And so I put out an album, and it like went up under his profile, and he was like getting all my royalties. And so
That's
I needed
fucked
to
up.
like, I needed to come up with something else, and I couldn't really think of something. But I've kind of always had like this fascination with the American West and like the wide open plains and like the space and the idea of the frontier and like the undiscovered country. I feel like I've always kind of vibed with that idea of being like an explorer, and kind of like striking out on my own and like I don't know, discovering something new or like claiming something new for myself. And I guess that's kind of what I did when I moved out and came up here to Nashville. So I don't know, it felt right. And I think at the time I was making like a lot more like folk music, like folk pop, that felt more expansive and a little bit more Western. And so it just, I kind of vibed with it. And the handle on like Twitter and Instagram were available. And so I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do it, lock it down. And now that I've committed to it, I can't change it. So,
So you named yourself Westward Drifter, but you moved farther east.
yeah, I also get that a lot too. Yeah, I don't know
We're
what
0
to
for
say.
2
I
on
don't know what to
original
say,
question.
but I tell you what, dude. Over the past couple weeks, I've been looking at LA and I've been thinking maybe I might move out there. We'll see. I don't know.
You should move to like Denver or something like that,
I could see myself in Denver. Um,
or Phoenix.
Dude, honestly, yeah, I've thought about Phoenix. I feel like that could be
Yeah.
pretty tight.
They got Kevin
Um,
Durant playing over there now and everything.
yeah, I think the first step wherever I go is gonna be like taking a trip out there just to see it and vibe with it. But to be honest with you, man, it's taken me so long to like feel established in Nashville and like feel like I have friends and like feel like I belong here. So the idea of starting over doesn't really sound great right now, but we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see what
it's
happens.
yeah, it's scary, but you can always evolve.
That's true. It's true.
All right, so what's your like relationship with music? Like, how did you get started?
So, um, I think my inspiration for picking up guitar was probably my brother because he started playing guitar when I was really young, and I was like, "That's dope. I want to be like him." Um, so that's why I started playing guitar, and then I don't know, man. I just when I was about 12, I just kind of decided to try it out and start writing songs. I felt like I had things to say. I didn't really, but but I just thought it was cool, and so I started doing it, and then um, I wish I could say that I felt like I was kind of like bubbling over with a lot of stuff to talk about in my songs, but again, I wasn't. Like I was so young, I didn't really have anything to say, but I
You
was kind of
didn't have
enjoying
like
it.
life experience to talk
Yeah, I
about
mean, like at
yet.
13, like what are you gonna write about? So, I was writing like,
Pokemon.
I was writing like these like Christian worship songs, basically.
I
Um,
was writing political rap when I was 13. That probably
um,
wasn't that probably wasn't the best way to start.
so yeah, I don't know. I just found that I was enjoying it a lot, and then it just kind of evolved from there. So there's not really like one. like formative moment or something that got me started. I just kind of decided to try it out, and then realized I liked it so much that I didn't want to stop.
So it's just like a combination of things
Hmm.
throughout like yeah your childhood that
Hmm.
made you want to.
Yeah.
I got you. Um, so when was like the first um, what was like the first like either like work that you put out or like a show you played or anything like that? Like what was like the first like actual work that you put out?
Hmm. So it was the Open Waters EP. I put it out when I was, how old was I? I think I was 17, honestly, when I put that out. And that was 3 songs that I had written over the past like 3 or 4 years as a teenager. And I had kind of like waited a while before I started recording just because I didn't know what I was doing. I was young and like I didn't have anyone helping me. So um, I, yeah, I think I was like 17. I put that out. And for the first year or two, whenever I would put something out, it would either go on SoundCloud or. Do you remember Noise Trade?
No.
Okay, so it's not around anymore, but I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, it was like this. It was like a free library for music, basically. And at the time, it was a great way to like get exposure and discover new artists, and also like have people discover you. So I would just throw them up on Noise Trade and kind of let people download them for free.
So was that
Um,
like a Bandcamp thing where you can
yeah, pretty much.
like pay what you want or was
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
like tip based.
okay, I got that.
Yeah, so I put out the Open Waters EP, and then the first album that I put out um, was just the full Open Waters album.
Okay. How'd you come up with that name?
Open Waters.
Yeah.
Um, what was the song?
It definitely
It was
sounds like West or Open Waters by Westward Drifter. Definitely sounds like a badass like 70s folk album for sure.
wow. Thank you. That's not what I was expecting you to say, but
I'm not gonna
that's a
insult you
compliment.
during the interview.
No, I wasn't expecting an insult. So how did I come up with the name Open Waters? It was a line in one of the songs. I'm trying to remember like exactly where it was, but the song itself was talking about how I was basically just feeling lonely and unsupported and feeling like I was kind of striking out on my own. I think you'll notice in a lot of my music, especially my earlier stuff, when I was a teenager, I was just like I was very metaphorical, and I would use a lot of metaphors and analogies. And so the song was talking about how I felt like I was kind of like on a ship, lost at sea, just like in the open waters by myself, and I didn't have anyone to like rely on but myself. But I was still gonna like, move forward with courage and kind of say, can I swear?
Yeah, man.
Okay, I kind of say fuck you to like all the people who had not like supported me or not believed in me. So that's how I came up with the name.
Word. So, I can edit this out if you don't want to talk about it, but do you want to talk about like your upbringing, like your family life at all?
Sure. How much time do we have?
Well, just tell me like I don't know, just whatever relates you think directly relates to your music regarding your upbringing.
Well, a lot of my music is about like heartbreak and relationships and romance. But I think I've always kind of like been followed around by this cloud of like loneliness or just feeling like I'm like unsupported, and doing it on my own. And so I think growing up and feeling kind of isolated within the family and like not accepted fully just kind of fed into that.
Are you the
Um,
youngest kid?
yes,
Okay. How many siblings do you have?
I've got 5.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, 6 kids. Um, okay, let's see what else. Let me look through my questions.
You know, I probably should write more songs about childhood and family stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It People will like one of the main critiques I get on my music is that I'm singing about all the same stuff, like failed relationships and like being hurt by people. So I probably should kind of branch out and talk about something else.
Um, who are some artists that you were listening through that time that kind of like helped you get through it?
um Colony House. They didn't start making music till I was like 16 or 17, I think, was when they put their first record out. But that first album by them, I remember that like kind of helping me a lot and like giving me a lot of hope. Um, who else helped me through it? A lot of the people that I was listening to as a teenager, there was a lot of John Mayer. Um, but lyrically, the stuff that he sings about it didn't like speak directly to the situation I was in. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't have a good answer to that.
Going with the flow. Do you want to talk about your songwriting process?
Sure. Um, let's see. It's always kind of changing. When I was making the Right on Track EP over COVID, I think the lockdown had a lot to do with my process. At the time, I I decided to take a full year. I was going to take the entire year of 2020 and make the record. So the plan was make a song every single month, and then by the time the year is over, I've got a full album. So some of those songs I had already they'd been started or like kind of already written, and I just hadn't tracked them and finished them yet. So that process was I just had a lot of time on my hands, and I just put a lot of time into them and kind of wrote and recorded and mixed and produced all at the same time because I could. And that's typically how I like to do it. Once I finished with that EP, I decided to kind of strip back the production and move more into like acoustic folk kind of stuff just because it's so much easier. Um, and I find that when the production is simpler, it allows the vocals and the emotion in my voice and the lyrics to really kind of shine through. Whereas like when it's kind of buried by a lot of fancy production, it's just a little bit more difficult. So the process these days is I've got a big note on my phone with a bunch of song ideas and just anything that pops into my head, like a rhyme or just something that I want to talk about. I write it down and then I wait until I'm feeling like I've got a surplus of energy. Because if I try to work on music when I'm not feeling inspired or if I don't have the energy for it, it's just gonna suck and I don't get anything done. So I wait till I get that feeling where I'm like really excited and I feel like I've got something to say. And oftentimes, songwriting is kind of like therapy for me. And so I will sit down to work on a song when I've got like this challenge where I'm like, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What's going on in my life? I need to like figure this out. And the process of songwriting is exploring what's going on in my head and trying to like give some form and shape to it. But typically I'll sit down with my guitar and just kind of come up with a hook or just try and find one little nugget that feels like it's important enough to like spend time on. Like I'm looking for something special to get me started. And then I just kind of build from there and typically I'll record everything, I'll cut the track as quickly as possible. And if it's an acoustic song, it's going to be like a couple hours. So I'll do the guitar and vocals, and then I'll probably come back and like overdub the vocals again or something. Um, and then mix it and edit it over the next couple days. So it tends to be a pretty quick process these days.
Okay. Would you say you spend more time writing like the music or more time writing the lyrics?
Definitely more time with the lyrics. Obviously, it's different for other people who make more complex music or like who want to put more time into the music, but I've always kind of seen the music and the chords as simply a structure to support the lyrics and the vocals. So I spend much more time, especially these days, man. Like it's crazy how much my writing has slowed down and kind of grinded to a halt. I used to be so prolific, and I think the reason was because I would just talk about anything, even if I didn't like have a connection to it, or even if it didn't feel totally honest. Um, and these days, I find it much harder to kind of look within myself and find something that is worth putting down onto the page. Like it has to be accurate to what I'm experiencing, and it can't just be true and accurate. It has to like have something else to it. Like there has to be some kind of emotional charge, because you can write a song that's like completely honest to what you're going through, and it's like okay, like it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't really make it special. So there's a lot of boxes that things have to check off in order for me to write them down.
Okay. So you would say like back in the day, you would basically write things to write things or write things that you thought were interesting, but now you just want it to be like extremely like personal and like honest.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm leaning way toward quality over quantity. When I first started, I would write a song about anything, um, and there's probably a lot of reasons why that has changed. But right now, it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to like. Well, I guess okay, it doesn't take a lot of time, but it takes time and commitment and definitely energy to write a song and to finish it. Um, so I'm just more selective about what I do now. I think if I just had more time and like I didn't have to worry about like working and all that stuff, I would definitely be writing more. So I'm just more selective.
Okay. So let's get into a spicy topic here.
Okay,
Why did you take down
there we
your
go.
previous EPs
There
and
it is.
albums?
Another question I get sometimes. So I guess the most straightforward way to answer this is the music scene or the industry, for lack of a better term, um, is so competitive, and capturing people's attention is so difficult. So I was finding that being in Nashville, like you meet people who make music or are in the industry in some way all the time, and when they find out that you also make music, they want to hear it. And so I feel like you've got a very small window of opportunity to like catch someone's attention, or whatever, get their respect or like get their interest, and not even just industry people, but just anybody, like potential fans as well. And so if they pull up your Spotify and they click on a song from like 4 years ago or 6 years ago and it sounds like ass, they're going to listen to it for 15 seconds and then be like, wow, this guy sucks. They're going to judge like your entire um, career and discography based on like something that doesn't really represent you. So I've always kind of outgrown my projects. naturally, either because I don't relate to the content anymore, or my skills as a musician and a producer have evolved to the point where I listen to it again and I'm like, wow, this sounds like shit. And I would be embarrassed um, if people heard that. Yeah, so that, I mean, that's the short answer. I guess um, a more like introspective answer would be that I really want to control the way people perceive me. Um, and so I just, you know, I want to have like my best work out there, and if something is not representative of my best, I'm probably going to take it down.
Okay. So what do you think of, or what's like your opinion on artists who like just leave their embarrassing music up?
I respect
You know
that.
what I'm saying? Like people who have been making music for like 4 or 5,
Yeah.
6 years, and it's like, okay, you look at like their first single, and then you hear like their newest single or their newest project, and it's like
Mhm.
completely different. Like, what's your take? Like, does their old music diminish like
Um,
their new music to you
I'm
or
having
anything?
trouble thinking of somebody who's done that.
Well, let's not talk about like a specific artist, but just like that whole like idea itself. Like, does it diminish?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think if I hear like a more recent song and it's fucking awesome, I'm like, hell yeah,
So you
you
don't think
know.
less of them if you listen to their old
No, I
music?
don't think so. No. I
Okay.
guess it's kind of nice, honestly, sometimes to like watch an artist kind of evolve and grow, and you get to feel like you're a part of the journey with them, and you know,
Yeah.
relate to them a little bit more.
I really respect that, like not just the music but everything. Like there's a YouTuber I watch who he does like street interviews and he just goes to like different events and stuff like that. But when you look like in his channel, his like very like his first videos he put up are like wrestling videos from like high school and college that are
Hmm.
like from 7, 8 years ago. And it has like nothing to do with like what he's doing now. And I don't think he was putting out those videos, you know, to like get popular or anything like that.
Hmm.
But I just respect that like that it's still like up there on his channel, you know, and
Yeah.
he has like 100,000 subscribers now or something.
Yeah, I think I basically just said this, but I think when I was a little bit younger, there were moments where I told someone to listen to my music. They listened to a song that I wasn't proud of, and I was like, "Fuck! I ruined my one shot to like get somebody on board." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, so I don't know. I think maybe people who are going to be deterred by that are not the kind of people that I want as fans anyway. But I don't know. I've definitely I'm leaning away from it now, but I feel like for a while I really did buy into like these are the things you need to do to like be successful in Nashville. And I tried to like curry favor with record labels and stuff like that, and it got me nowhere. So
yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this: what is if someone is like discovering you for the first time? What is the song you want them to listen to first, like the introduction to your music?
let me see. Um, I've been sharing my music with more people lately, and typically I'll tell them to listen to the most recent song because I think that one's the best one. So right now it would be
Yeah, I like that one.
doxycycline.
Yeah, that's a great song.
It really depends though. Like if I know that that person enjoys pop more than folk, I'll probably tell them to listen to Toy Car. Um, if I know, I mean, I don't know. It all
Okay,
kind
but
of it depends.
okay, well, what's like? Let's not make it depend. What it's like? Okay, what it's like? You
Are you
meet
asking me what my favorite song is?
not your favorite song, but just
Okay.
like a song that you want people like the people that are watching this video right now, right? That like haven't heard of you. You
Yes.
don't know what their taste in music is. What's the song you're
I
gonna
want you
give to
guys
them
to listen
first?
to doxycycline.
Okay, good answer. I like that one a lot. It's my
Thank you.
second favorite. My
What's
favorite's BNA.
BNA? I knew you were gonna say
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. BNA just resonates with me more, but I really like Doxy. I just like I don't know. I just like the whole vibe of Doxycycline, but BNA I think lyrically just hits like more personally to me.
Thank you. Um, I tell you what, dude, because I've been thinking about B&A, and I've been thinking about Wasteland, and I listen to those songs, and I'm like, I know I could do better. I
Don't take
think
down
I will.
BNA.
I wasn't gonna say that. What I might do is I might re-record them.
Okay, leave BNA original version up though.
Okay, I might just do like an updated version or something, just to make them like really, really hit a little bit
Yeah,
harder.
do like BNA trap remix.
Okay.
I'm joking. I'm
All
joking.
right, maybe you could help me with that.
No, I don't think so. Well,
Are you still
I know a
producing?
guy.
Are you still making
Yes.
music?
Yeah.
Like recording stuff?
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's more rock stuff though, because I
Cool.
don't know. Voice crack. I'm gonna edit that out. That's embarrassing. Um, yeah, I've been listening to like a lot more rock music lately. Like Fall Out Boy. I've been listening like Jimi Hendrix. Um, and I've also been listening to like things like Thundercat and Tame Impala, which is like more soul or psychedelic
Mm-hmm.
music. And like I don't know, I really like those genres. I would say like R&B/soul music and rock are like my top two genres,
Nice.
like my top two favorites. Still love rap. Rap is like it's just good music, but I don't really like. I'll definitely spit a couple bars on a song, but like I'm not gonna like be a full time rapper, you know.
Yeah. You know what's funny, dude? I rap is always gonna have a special place in my heart. Um, right now, I'm kind of steering away from rap. Like I'm not really vibing with it as much as I used to. But I've definitely gone through periods where like that's all I listened to for like months.
Yeah.
But it's funny how the kind of music I make is just the kind of music I make. And I can listen to all this other shit and I can like have my head immersed in rap for like 3 months at a time. But I'll still always like come back to like melodic folk songs and pop songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like for the life of me, I cannot make a rap song. And I've tried.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. I get you. Rap is the new rock and roll. At least it is now,
I would agree with that.
because like um I'm thinking about writing a video essay on this, but basically like rock music now, like the musicians in rock music, they're not necessarily flashy or marketable. They're like either they look like you basically where they're wearing like jeans and flannel and they're just like playing their songs, which is cool, or they're I don't know, or they just don't get it.
But do you
If
feel like, um, okay, so you know this idea that every 30 years, like the culture kind of flips
yeah,
a little bit? Do
I
you
think
feel like right now rockers are not like the punk, like alternative, like anti-culture?
no, I don't think so. I'm not really sure I would call rap the anti-culture either though.
What do you think is the anti-culture right now? Because I mean, rap is definitely like the mainstream right now.
Uh, I'm not I'm not too sure. I think we've hit a point where there's an audience for everything. So I can't
Yeah,
really say that there's like a definitive anti-culture. I just think there's like larger and smaller audiences.
yeah,
Like I'm thinking about like hyperpop. I'm not really sure I would call that anti-culture, but it is like it's the new thing that might like evolve. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
it's like a very jarring genre, but
Hmm.
I don't think I would call that like an anti-culture
How
or like
similar do
offensive
you
or
think
anything like that.
hyperpop is to dubstep? Because do you know Skrillex is like having a fucking massive comeback right now?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay. Do you think
Um,
that those two are like kind of similar in any way?
I don't know. Hyperpop's just a lot more vocal though. They just sing more on it. Like uh, EDM is just like instrumental, and hyperpop is just like it sounds like a cocktail of drugs,
Hmm.
just in your ears with like Alvin and the Chipmunks singing. So
Yeah, right now I can't really tell if I'm sick of hyperpop or if I'm like intrigued by it.
I think I'm intrigued by it.
I started listening to it in 2021. I went through like a big hyperpop phase like that summer of 21.
Hmm.
And then I don't know, it didn't really like stick for me. But I think the 90s had like their little moment of like kind of coming back. I think we're going to start seeing the pop rock from like the early aughts coming back. I think we're already
Yeah,
seeing that in a big way with like the band Camino and all these other little bands that like kind of all sound the same. Like they're all doing like the electric guitar like boy band kind of thing.
yeah, and also I would say rock is kind of like coming back to its roots in a way, where it's like when it started, it was like solo artists,
Hmm.
and then bands kind of took over, and there were still solo artists, but it was like if you look in the 50s, it's like BB King, Chuck Berry, Elvis. Those are like the big names. Then you go 60s, 70s, it's the Beatles, Led Zeppelin,
Mm-hmm.
Black Sabbath. And then the 80s, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you have Ozzy Osbourne and Billy Idol, but you also have Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses. So it's kind of like a mix of that.
Hmm.
And then I would say in the 2000s, it's definitely bands, Fall Out Boy, Paramore, etc. Um, but now it's like you see people like Olivia Rodrigo,
Mm-hmm.
where she's like influenced by rock music and
Mm-hmm.
like she's making like some pop rock songs, but it's like she is like like it's her solo work.
Dude, how good is that song? How does it go? Good for you. Good for
Yeah,
you.
it's a
You look
bop.
happy and it's so good, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very catchy.
Um, but yeah, so bands don't really exist anymore. They might be coming back a little bit, but for I think right now, it's like it's just solo acts that are really like dominating.
Yeah, they're
And if
really
they have
like
a band,
popping
it's
off.
just like people that they hire to,
Yeah,
play with them.
there's some like good bands out there, for sure. Like the Backseat Lovers, um, but like and Arctic Monkeys, but they're
Hmm.
they're a little bit older.
Hmm.
Um, But yeah, I think like now, like rock music in the 2020s, it's like solo artists
Why do you think that happened? Like,
because it's easier to market one person than a group.
yeah,
That's why.
yeah.
Because yeah, I don't know. That's just how it is. I bet we're probably gonna get like a strange band of like four guys, and one's like a cowboy, and one's like a fucking like heavy metal guy, and another is like a rapper, just a straight up rapper, like he raps on the songs, and then like another guy is like an EDM producer,
I
and they're
could
gonna
see
make
that.
like albums
Yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That actually sounds really sick.
Yeah,
Actually, that sounds great.
that's like the next like like the classic album format where it's like the
Yeah,
four Beatles
yeah.
heads like all together. That's gonna be the next thing, but it's gonna be like a cowboy, a pirate, and a rapper.
Okay, who would be in that?
Who would be
Because
in
my
that?
vote would be either Diplo or Skrillex as the EDM producer. But then
Okay.
who else would you say?
Morgan Wallen.
Yes, dude.
And let's see, Baby Keem. I think that'd be
This sounds
hilarious.
horrible.
Either Baby Keem or like Zombie Juice from the Flatbush Zombies. Somebody like that.
That's insane. But
Yeah,
honestly, I'm so intrigued and I really want to know what that would sound like.
yeah.
Dude, I think it's always been like a lifelong dream of mine to like be in a band and like have a group of people that I'm collaborating
It's
with.
tough. I've been in a band
It,
before.
why is it tough?
It's just tough to get like a schedule going, especially when everyone has like
Yeah.
their own things going on. And also location is very important. Like I mean, in Nashville might be like easier, but it's just like I don't know. Scheduling is tough, and
Well, it also seems like everybody
yeah,
wants to do their own thing these days, which is really
yeah, and
disappointing.
people.
What?
I don't know. That was just funny to me. But yeah. Well, it's just like scheduling thing, and like people also like especially if you're trying to like be an up and coming band, it's like other people have their own shit. Like other people work like full time.
Yeah.
Other people are in school.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
like
No, it's
you're
definitely it's
you're
hard to
also
like
demand like you're not just taking time yourself. right? Because that's hard enough as it is. But you're also like demanding the time of other people who have their own shit going on in their life,
Yeah.
and that's why it's
And
tough.
it's hard to get people to invest in something that is not like bringing them money.
Yes.
And I don't think anyone like starts a band expecting it to make money, but like, dude, I will be honest, after a full week of like working, like X number of hours, I come home and I'm exhausted and like I kind of don't want another thing to like put my energy into that it's not going to like feed me in some way. But I think I've been making music completely alone for so long that I'm almost dying to like kind of give up creative control. Because I think as long as I've got my own thing where I make all the decisions, and if I want to make a song by myself, I can do that. Um, as long as I've got that, I think I would kind of thrive in almost like a chaotic environment, like you talking about like having an EDM producer and this hodgepodge of like a lot of different styles. That sounds so chaotic that
Hmm.
I'm really excited by that because it would be exciting to see what would just kind of come out of that with those different energies like mixing.
Would you ever collaborate with someone or make like a joint project with someone?
Yeah, for sure. I've tried to write with people, with a couple people, and I think that's one of those things where you just have to like audition it and just try it, and like if it doesn't work, just kind of like step back and be like, okay, we're creatively like we're not really meshing, because so often you can try to write with someone and for whatever reason like nothing just comes out. I think a lot of it comes down to the fear of judgment. Like you have to both of you have to be like super supportive and open-minded and just say yes to everything even if it's not a good idea. But if you're writing with someone and one of you guys pitches a line or something and somebody says no, you instantly kill that creative energy. So even if you don't like it, I think you still have to like say yes and just kind of roll with it. But yeah, I would love to like collaborate. I'm at this point where I I'm dying to like give up a little bit of control and just kind of like I'm looking at music more as this thing that kind of just happens rather than something that I create. And so if I stop thinking that like I've made this or I had this idea and I stop being so married to it and stop being so intent on it like turning out the way that I want it to turn out, um, I think it opens you up to, you know, endless possibilities.
I want to touch back on like your old music that you've taken down. I just want to ask, why is "Truth Be Told" the one song off of Right on Track that you kept up?
Because I think it's the best. And actually, man, I don't know what I did with that song, but I think it sounds better than anything that I've made since then. Um, I don't know how, but everything with that song just kind of came together the way it needed to. Like I remember working on the beat and like I found like I think he used like a clock, the ticking of a clock. Sampled that, I put it in. I used like a railroad, like a train or something, and just kind of chopped that up. And I remember just like every single thing that I put in, layering it on top of everything else. I think it just followed the basics with that song, honestly. Um, a lot of times when I'm doing like the pop songs that have a lot more production, I will try and be so creative that I'll like break a lot of rules, and I think that's
Hmm.
important to have. But
Yeah.
I think with Truth Be Told, I I just followed like all of the rules and all of the guidelines and just like checked every single box as I was going through that process, and it came out sounding really good. So yeah,
Are you gonna like maybe revise any old songs and bring them back, like re-release
for
them?
sure, for sure. It's just a matter of time. Wasteland definitely is gonna get redone. I don't think it. Do you know about like the story behind Wasteland, or just like
No.
okay? So I think I had COVID when I made that actually, or no, it was Toy Car. I had COVID when I sang Toy Car, which is so funny, dude. Wasteland and Toy Car, I was sick and I was like coughing and like blowing my nose and stuff, and for some reason like the vocals still came out great, and I have no clue how, because like when I'm not sick, like today I couldn't sing for shit. It would sound awful if I tried to sing right now. But if I get just like a little bit of a head cold, dude, my vocals
Bro,
so
that's
good.
like your ultimate form is when
Yeah.
you're sick.
So when did I make Wasteland?
That's funny.
I think it was in September or something, but I was definitely sick when I did the vocals to that, and I don't know. Wasteland is like just never really sounded like my best work. There's a lot of pieces that are out of place, and I think I made some fundamental mistakes with the production on Wasteland that just made it really difficult to work with. But the reason I rushed it and put it out when it probably wasn't ready was, like all of my songs, it was very like emotionally driven, and I had to put it out. Like I had something to say. I needed to put it out, and I just couldn't sit on it for any longer. So, yeah, definitely redo Wasteland. Probably B&A, but it sounds B&A sounds good. So like it's on the back burner. I'm not gonna rush that one. Yeah.
Would you ever put like a cool little project, like you keep the old, or you keep what you have already as it is, but you make like a, maybe you call it like a revisited album, so it's like
Yeah.
Wasteland Revisited, BNA Revisited, and then like anything else you want to put on it?
Yeah, I could see that. I think the reason I haven't done that just yet is because it takes a lot of like energy to do like a full production like that. So if I was gonna rework a song entirely, and like give it a different vibe, um, I would almost rather like put that energy into a brand new song. It's not out of the picture. I definitely could see that, because a lot of times I'll be working on a song and I'll come up to like a fork in the road, many forks in the road, where I'm like, I could go this direction or this direction. And then I'm kind of just, as I make those decisions, I'm saying no to like all these different versions of the song. So yeah, I could see that. I just need to get inspired about it first.
So are you more focused on like putting newer things out right now, or like what's your main focus musically right now?
Musically, right now, I've not been thinking about it since I finished doxycycline. I've still been writing a little bit. Um, and every now and then I'll pull the guitar down and work on a little something. But yeah, I think it's new stuff for right now. Working on like a bigger project feels like a lot to handle. Because, dude, I spent years working on Right on Track. It was supposed to be a full length album. And I remember I was living in Austin and I was going to school for audio engineering at the time. And I put this album out, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna like pause releasing music. I'm going to finish up school, and I'm gonna like really put in a good chunk of time to like perfect the music that I'm making. Because up until that point, I just been kind of vomiting projects and like not taking the time to really focus on the quality, and it wasn't getting me anywhere. So I spent probably 5 years where I didn't release a single thing, and I was working on music consistently. I was trying to hone my skills, and then I spent probably 2 years like actively working on Right on Track, and then I cut all those songs down to the ones that I thought really deserved to be on it. But having a project that you're working on for that long and not getting like the dopamine hit of like releasing it and like, you know, having some attention and like getting it off
Having
your plate.
feedback too.
Yeah. It's just tough. Do you know what I mean? So right now it's much more exciting for me to make one song, put it out as fast as possible, than it is to really like go dark and like work on a bigger project. I will again at some point. Just right now, I don't know. I'm feeling like cutting singles is the way to go.
Okay, so let's do one more question before
Okay.
we end the video. What is the future of Westward Drifter?
Mm. Um, that is a great question. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that pretty open-ended, but like I mentioned earlier, I'm really excited about collaborating, maybe like being the front man in a band. Um, I think alternative country, there's this vibe that like I don't know the name for this genre, but um it's like a hot, sweaty, like summery, like basement garage kind of vibe. Um, good production, but
Garage
like
rock?
maybe, but it's got a little bit of like country to it. I
Southern
don't know,
fried garage
something
rock?
like that. Do you know the band Bootstraps?
No.
I want you to listen
I have
to.
a lot of homework to do after this.
Yeah, you
Holy
really
shit.
do. I want you to listen to. Where is it? This record. Something in the vein of this. Do you also know Hank Compton?
No.
You're not gonna remember all these.
No, just send them to me.
Okay, I'll make a playlist for you after this. Um, Hank Compton, he's a local dude, and he's got a lot of music that just feels very like raw, and I don't know. I just kind of I want to lean into like kind of being a loser a little bit and like not having my shit together and like not having any prospects and just getting together with friends and just making like some alternative country rock and just fucking going
Yeah,
with it.
so just having like a fuck it,
Yeah.
attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I admire that. I respect that.
Thank you.
So yeah, is there anything else that like you want to say before we end the video?
I don't
Just
think
like
so.
okay, word. Well,
Yeah.
that's Westward Drifter. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with a friend, like maybe a fellow folk fan or a fellow EDM fan or anything, honestly, because this guy he can do it all. And listen to his music. All links will be down in the description. And thanks for watching, guys.
A little bit older, a little more lost. Right back where I started, left behind, love bombed and shell shocked.